Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast in iTunes' #1 kids and family podcast. We are so very, very happy that you have chosen to listen to the show, and you've chosen to support the show and tell your friends about the show and tweet about us and share us and review us and subscribe to us, and that makes us so very happy. We have a wonderful guest for you today. Her name is Cruice Smith, and she's here to tell us about her wonderful, touching book, Why Did You Choose Me? Before Katie joins us, there's still time for you to choose the perfect holiday gift for the curious kid on your list. And if you are still making that choice, we want you to go to littlepassports.com/reading. littlepassports.com/reading, because we believe Little Passports is the perfect holiday gift for curious kids of all ages. I told you a little bit about the beautiful Little Passports kit that I received, that it transported me to ancient Egypt and gave me the equipment, the tools, everything I needed to go on an archaeological dig and to dig up a beautiful artifact from Egypt. It's amazing. And Little Passports, it's amazing. Like I said, it's the perfect holiday gift for curious kids of all ages. Little Passports delivers fun-filled packages right to their door every single month, with engaging hands-on activities, interactive projects, and unique souvenirs just waiting to be discovered. Little Passport's monthly subscriptions are designed to spark children's curiosity about geography, world cultures, or science. From exploring sea creatures in Costa Rica to building a Big Ben like the one in England or making an ancient Greek headpiece, every month is a different adventure that will fuel their imagination and spark their natural curiosity of the world around them. It's the perfect holiday gift for kids ages 3 to 13 this holiday season. Order today for holiday delivery by going to littlepassports.com/reading. littlepassports.com/reading. Oh, and we also want you to know we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read. It's Ben's Adventures, A Day at the Beach by Elizabeth Gerlach. Ben can't walk and he can't talk, but he can use his imagination to have amazing adventures. Today he's at the beach flying with a kite, counting crabs, and building a sandcastle. Benjamin shows us that despite physical or medical differences, all kids can play and dream. This book is based on a real-life adventurer named Benjamin Robert Gerlach. Ben loved to be outside with the sun on his face and the wind in his hair. He was a triplet: brother, son, friend, student, and churchgoer. He was also a young boy living with cerebral palsy and epilepsy. But this didn't define him. He loved toys, noises, movement, his preschool class, his brother, his sister, his mommy, and daddy. He had many challenges in his life, but lived each day with a smile on his face. After a 2-year fight with multiple respiratory illnesses, Ben lost his battle. But he won at life. This book is dedicated to Ben with the great hope that it shows that everyone deserves to have an adventure. And despite physical or medical differences, that all kids can play and dream. This really is a beautiful, beautiful book. We want you to check it out. You can read the entire announcement at our website, Reading with Your Kids, and click on our blog. It's Ben's Adventures, A Day at the Beach by Elizabeth Gerlach, our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. Very, very excited to welcome our guest today. She's coming to us from Greenville in South Carolina. She is the author of a wonderful, wonderful book called Why Did You Choose Me? Please welcome to the show, Cruice Smith. Katie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Excited to be talking about this brand new book. Why Did You Choose Me? Tell us a little bit about it, please.
Okay, well, it's based on real life, actually. Mm-hmm. I'm the adoptive mom of 3 kids, and in our third adoption, we were struggling to find a way to, raise the money for it. And so I was looking for grants everywhere I could, and I found a grant on Pinterest, and it was an essay contest, and they said, if your child comes to you someday and says, "Why did you choose me?" what would you say? And so I wrote an essay, and I won. And from there, I kind of got thinking about, what do kids think about why they're in a family, and what do the younger kids have no way to express themselves? And I just thought it would be a good book to kind of get that conversation going. And my illustrator wanted to help me get it out there to help raise money for our adoption, but it took us a few years to get it published, so it didn't help with that adoption, but that's kind of where it got started.
Wow, what a beautiful story. I just love that. It's just wonderful. So many questions, starting with, I guess the thing that jumps out at me, and maybe it surprises people. Can you give us an idea of how much it costs for a family to adopt a child?
Well, it can be quite costly. The average private adoption, which is what we did, costs between $30,000 to $40,000 now. But there are, you can go through foster care, and a lot of counties will pay for it if you go through foster care. But I tell people, that's a risky way to adopt, because foster care, they encourage reunification, and so there's a chance that you won't be able to adopt the child you have in your home for 2 years. So, there's a lot of things to weigh when you're trying to consider which way you want to adopt.
So I guess the next question comes, why would a family choose to make that kind of monetary sacrifice, not only to adopt one child, but 3 children?
Well, we were fortunate. Our adoptions didn't cost that much. Ours were less than $20,000, actually.
Okay.
But we actually were considering international adoption at first, and we were looking into China. But at the time, I was not old enough to adopt from China. You have to be at least 30, I believe.
Okay.
And so that door was closed, and we felt God calling us to do something else. And we tried, different avenues. And the boss that I had at the time had a former assistant who had worked with our adoption attorney. And so that's how I got introduced to our adoption attorney. He was so good with the whole process, and just working with the birth mom, matching us. But we just were following our hearts because we wanted to be parents, and we just didn't know, how God wanted us to be parents. But, when you're called to something, sometimes you just go in blindly and figure it out along the way. So I guess that's kind of how we started. And now, we've gone down that road, and now we can help others, to navigate their own adoption journey.
What a beautiful journey. And you're right. There's a lot of times, we feel drawn to something or feel called to something, and we don't have the map, completely drawn out. The GPS for our life isn't quite working yet, and we just have to kind of have faith and trust, and to kind of go with the flow and be able to roll with whatever life throws at us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
What would, obviously it's been a positive experience for you if you've adopted 3 kids. What could you say to a family that's out there that's thinking about adopting a child, whether it's private or foster care or international? What would you say to that family who's, I'm not sure, I'm kind of afraid, what am I going to do?
Well, I say, first of all, do your research, become informed. I think one of the biggest downfalls for adoptions becoming disrupted from the adoptive family's point of view is that they think that it's all, rainbows and sunshine, and they're going to rescue these children, and the children are going to be grateful. But these kids come from hard places, and they don't know to be thankful. If you adopt from foster care or even an international orphanage, they don't know that sleeping in a bed is better than sleeping on a floor, and that they should be thankful for that. And even adopting newborns, which all three of our kids we adopted at birth. And, there's emotional baggage that still comes along with what they were exposed to, in utero. So we did our research and really thought and prayed about, what does God want for our family? You have to lower your expectations and just expect that, adoption is going to be a bumpy ride. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. And it's going to take a little while.
I really appreciate that honesty because, we talk about how wonderful it is, what a wonderful gift it is to serve and to give and to open your home to foster kids or international kids, or to open your home and your heart and your family and adopt kids. But you're right, it's a challenge and it can be a bumpy road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I think that's really important for people to understand.
Right.
But despite the bumps and the challenges, you and your family, it sounds like you're really happy of the choices that you made.
Oh yes, we would keep adopting if God opens that door. We say as long as there is an empty chair at our kitchen table, we're gonna accept any adoption that comes our way. Uh-huh. We're also foster parents. We're taking a break right now, but last year we had 10 foster kids, not at one time, but 10 total who came and went from our home. So, the dynamics of our home change on a daily basis sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I'm just loving speaking to you. You're giving so much to these kids who are in need, and I think that's that's something that obviously people are thinking. Wow, what a wonderful, generous family! What a wonderful woman! But tell us about some of the things that you get. It is a challenge. There's bumps, but there must be some joy that you're experiencing through this gift that you're giving to kids.
Oh, definitely. I've had people say how lucky your kids are and how blessed they are. And I don't think that's true at all. I think that I'm the one who's blessed. I think that the fact that I'm a mother, to these kids, that even the ones who come and go so quickly from my home and that don't get to live with me forever, they're still mine. And I feel like this is God's promise to me. He says in the Bible that he gives the barren woman a home and makes her the joyous mother of children. And I'm a barren woman and I'm the joyous mother of, I have 13 kids. I only have 3 who live with me, but there are 13 who I love and cared for. Mm-hmm. And, so every day it's a reminder to me how blessed I am. And I'm so thankful because I know that there are many women out there who are dying to be a mom and who are aching for that. And my heart goes out to them because I used to be there in their shoes.
Tell us some of the questions, because you based Why Did You Choose Me on questions that your kids have asked you over the year. What are some of the questions that they asked and that you incorporated into the book?
They asked me, all of the drawings and situations in the book are true to life. I do have a monkey who climbs on everything and is constantly scaring me to death. I have a gymnastic star. I have messes behind closed doors. They're kids. Mm-hmm. But they have asked me, why do we belong to you? Why did you choose me when you went to the hospital? Why didn't you choose one of those other babies? My kids don't look like me at all. Mm-hmm. They're all biracial. We have an African American, an Asian, and a Hispanic child. And, so people notice that when we're out in public and they say, well, Mom, why didn't you choose somebody who looked more like you? Or who did better? We're not doing great in school. Why didn't you choose somebody who was smarter and, who could do, phenomenal things? And I just tell them, I didn't want anybody but you. You were the one God chose for me, and I'm your mom. There was no choice.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful. And, just as you're saying that, I'm thinking that that's such an important message for all kids to hear. to
Yes.
understand that you are my child, no matter how you came to us, and I wouldn't trade you for the world.
Exactly.
And I imagine, as I'm thinking here, I'm thinking of, so obviously this is a great book for a family with adopted children. This is a great book for, a family that's in a neighborhood that lives next door to a family that has adopted kids. But I'm thinking that this is a great book for every single kid to read, and that's such a great opportunity for parents to just remind their kids that, yeah, you are mine, you are special, and I wouldn't trade you for anything.
Right. And then that was kind of my point too, where I don't really mention adoption really in the book, because that wasn't the point. The point is that God creates families from all different situations and scenarios, and there's wonderful families out there of single parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles who are raising these kids. And one family, it doesn't have to be that traditional family that we're used to. God creates families in unique ways, and every family is beautiful, and these children need to be reassured that their identity is who they are in that family. They have a purpose, they have a place, and they're special because of their place in that family.
You just reminded me of something that happened to me as a performer. I present educational magic shows at schools, and one of the things that I mention to kids when I'm encouraging them and trying to inspire them to make healthy choices for their lives, I tell them, I want my kids to make healthy choices because I love them, and I know that your families want you to make healthy choices. And I always make sure that I use the plural to help indicate that, we have many families that we belong to, our school family, our church family, the family that we live with, and that families look different. And I started doing that because one day after the show, before I started doing the multiple families, I was just mentioning, your family loves you. And a kid came up to me and he said, Jedley, not every kid is loved. My parents don't love me. They use drugs and they're in jail. And wow. I was really kind of thrown back by that. But then thankfully, I don't navigate on my own. I have a lot of help from above. And I just realized, I said to him, well, who do you live with right now? And he's like, well, I live with my grandparents. And I goes, well, they love you, right? And he goes, yeah. I goes, well, that's your family, right? Yeah. And so it turned out cool. And, it's just funny how as you're speaking, that flashback to me, that happened about 25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I think it's so important for us to kind of help our kids understand that family is it's a biological thing, but it's also a choice. We can choose who we think of as families. Exactly.
And who we are is not all wrapped up in our biology. It's, we can create our family, the people who support us and love us and rally around us, and it doesn't have to even be somebody who shares our DNA. And I want my kids to understand that, that just because I don't share their DNA doesn't make me any less their mom. I've been here to kiss their boo-boos and to, wipe their noses and cheer for them when they're, struggling. And that's what makes a family, the people who support you.
Absolutely. Tell me some of the reaction that you've heard from folks who've read Why Did You Choose Me?
Well, I've gotten really good responses from it. I think that there are a lot of adoptive parents especially who were looking, I know I was struggling to find books out there that kind of really addressed it from just a very straight point of view. There's a lot of books out there that deal with it with, fluffy animals, and those books are good too, but my kids were kind of wanting to have just a plain old conversation, and see themselves in the pages. And I think my illustrator did a good job of illustrating different children throughout the book. And I wanted to be able to relate that to all children. These kids have questions, and I think adoptive parents, we kind of shy away a little bit from when is it appropriate for us to tell them that they're adopted? Should we say anything about their biological family? And I wanted to be able to open the door for them to have that conversation. And a lot of people have said that really has helped them to kind of, because they read the book with their child, and then afterwards the child's like, well, yeah, why did you choose me? What made you pick me out? And then that gets the ball rolling for them.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I just love this. I'm so happy that you've created Why Did You Choose Me? So as an adopted mother, what kind of benefits do you think your kids have experienced from all the time that you've spent reading to them? Not only Why Did You Choose Me, but all the other books that are in your family library. Katie will be telling us what kind of benefits she thinks her kids have experienced from reading together. And you know my opinion. I think there's so many benefits. The kids get so much from reading with their parents, reading aloud with their parents. It's such a beautiful thing. It's one of the things I think it does is it helps kids develop a love of reading and a love of learning. Another great way to spark a kid's natural curiosity and a kid's love of learning is through a wonderful gift like Little Passports. Little Passports is the perfect holiday gift for curious kids of all ages. Little Passports delivers fun-filled packages right to their door every single month with engaging hands-on activities, interactive projects, and unique souvenirs just waiting to be discovered. Little Passports monthly subscriptions are designed to spark children's curiosity about geography, world cultures, or science. From exploring sea creatures in Costa Rica to building a Big Ben like the one in England or making an ancient Greek headpiece, every month is a different adventure that will fuel their imagination and spark their natural curiosity of the world around them. It's the perfect holiday gift for kids ages 3 to 13 this holiday season. Order today for holiday delivery at littlepassports.com/reading. littlepassports.com/reading. To them, not only Why Did You Choose Me, but all the other books that are in your family library.
Oh, we have a lot. I am a huge book addict. I guess you would call me. I've been collecting children's books way before my children even came along. But I think that it benefits them. It has helped them get out of their comfort zone for one thing. They kind of get stuck when I leave them to read for themselves. They just want to read the easy books. And right now as a family, we're reading Alice in Wonderland, and they fought me on it. They did not want to sit for it, but I made them sit down, and every time I read them a chapter, they are disappointed when the chapter ends. I try to expand their horizons a little bit, and I find even with my 4-year-old, she's using these humongous words that 4-year-olds don't usually use. So it's expanding her vocabulary. It brings us together. They can be really rowdy, and I'll start reading, and then suddenly they're all cuddled up to me on the couch and fascinated by the worlds that I'm sharing with and opening them to. Books can take you anywhere, and they can, get you out of the mundane Monday blues and take you on adventures to Neverland and to down a rabbit hole with Alice. And, I've seen them, reenact them by, getting their costumes out and playing them together. And it's just exciting when I see these things come to life for them. I just want them to have that love of reading like I've always had.
Wow. You bring up a really important point that we've touched on a few times here on the podcast, and that kids' listening level is a lot higher than their reading level. Kids are able to comprehend a story that they're read, that it's read aloud to them, on a much higher level than they're able to read themselves. And reading those books to our kids, whether they're in kindergarten or 3rd grade or 8th grade, and we're reading, more complicated books that are kind of outside their comfort zone. we're introducing them to vocabulary, and it's such a great benefit for kids. I'm so happy that you reminded parents of that, because I think we forget sometimes. And there are a lot of parents out there who go, oh, my kids can read on their own now. They don't want me to read to them.
Right. Yeah. And it's a special part of our day, just, we are busy. We are running around all day long, and it's easy to give them, technology to kind of occupy them and not hand them a book. And when I was growing up, I went everywhere with a book. I got in trouble for not playing outside enough because I was reading. And I even tricked my mom, and I would sneak my book out and climb a tree. And so I was outside, but I was up in the tree reading a book. And I want them to be excited about that. I want them to turn off the TV and get off of, their Kindles. And I know we can read on Kindle, but I like the old paperback books. I want them to see their nose in a book. I want to have to fuss at them for reading too much, for not coming to the dinner table because they won't put the book down. That's what I think, we're losing that in our kids these days. And we're just, not encouraging it like we used to. And I think getting them to the library is important, and, encouraging them to check out books at school, and just having that love for reading that is lacking in so much of our society today.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, I'm curious, that discipline of always sitting down together to read, did that help you kind of help those foster kids, that came to you kind of unsure of who you are and why they were there in your home, and maybe angry that they weren't back with these people that they knew and that they wanted to be with? Did that reading, the experience, help kind of make them feel more comfortable with your family?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because they knew, that was kind of a safe place. And I think, like I said, it takes them away from their reality. They're dealing with some really hard things. And, we only fostered up to age 6. And so we were dealing with really little ones. And, they see more than they should have to see. Mm-hmm. And, they know more than they should know. And so to kind of bring them back to, let's take an adventure together. Let's play together. Let's get out of this yucky reality that you're living in, and let's dream together and imagine together.
That's a really good point. And again, going back to my magic shows, there's a lot of times I've gone into inner city middle schools and high schools, and my costumes are a little bit silly, and sometimes I'll come in and the teachers or the administrators kind of roll their eyes and going, oh my goodness, these kids are going to eat you up. These kids have seen so much, they're so streetwise, and right. You're just going to be silly. But those are the kids who respond the greatest to the show, because it's like, yeah, we've seen all this stuff. We've seen way more stuff than we should have seen at our age. And It's so cool to be able to chill out and just be a kid again. Right.
And I think that they need to be able to be taken back to that, even if it feels childish to them. I think there's kind of a safety there, a security, like these people see me as a kid. They're not trying to ask me to be a grown-up and handle grown-up things. They're letting me be silly and fun and just kind of relax here, and that's, reading has opened that door for us to kind of talk a little bit more, they kind of trust us a little more. They let their walls down a little bit. And as they get into the story, then they start kind of revealing a little bit more about their own story, and we get to know them and see ways that we can help them. And that's important. And they don't even realize that they're sharing with us, but they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a lot of times with kids, the best way to get information is to just not ask questions, just to to talk, to share some stories, to read together, and just let those stories come out naturally from the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we want to know where we can find out more about Why Did You Choose Me?
Okay, well, you can go to my blog, katiecruisesmith.com, and I talk all things adoption and mommyhood on there. Or you can get my book. It's available at Barnes & Noble, Christian Supply, Walmart, Target, any of the major retailers, or you can buy it on Amazon.
Now, you mentioned a couple of times your faith and that this is available at a Christian bookstore. Is this something that is going to turn off someone who is not a Christian?
No, because it's not. It doesn't. I don't talk about God throughout my book. Mm-hmm. I wanted to write a book that met the needs everywhere, and for me, adoption is just an example of God's love for us. But I didn't feel like I had to put that part in my book. I didn't feel God leading me in that way. Mm-hmm. I am working on a devotional book that will obviously be Christian-centered, and it's for older kids who are going through the adoption and foster care process, and it'll help them bond with their parents. Mm-hmm. But Why Did You Choose Me was just supposed to be a book to open that conversation for adoptees from any walk of life.
Yeah. And I think it's a great book for every family to add to their family library. It's a great way to just help our kids realize that they're, we live in this beautiful home and we all share this biology, but there are other families out there that are different, but they are just as much family as we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Katie Cruice Smith, I am so happy that you had a chance to come to us and tell us a little bit about Why Did You Choose Me? I hope you'll come back when your book for older kids is available.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I've enjoyed it.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Getting ready for Christmas, we are welcoming Dorothea Jensen to the show. She's going to be telling us about her wonderful series, the Izzy Elves series. She will be here. We hope you join us also. Earlier in the show, we congratulated Elizabeth Gerlach, her beautiful, beautiful book, Ben's Adventures, A Day at the Beach. It was our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. We would love to consider your book for our certified great read program. We've assembled a panel of super evaluators that will read your book. These folks they're educators, they're parents, they're kids. And kids, sometimes they're the hardest critics. Anyways, if our panel believes that your book is worthy of 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, then your book becomes a Reading with Your Kids certified great read. It's a wonderful way to help your book stand out amongst a crowd of books, because after all, there are thousands and thousands of books, probably tens of thousands of children's books published every year. And if you're an author, especially an indie author, it's really hard for you to help your book kind of stand out from all of those other books. And the Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program is a great way to do that. You can find out more about the program at our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Hey, you also want to check out another fantastic website. It's littlepassports.com/reading, because Little Passports is the perfect holiday gift for that curious kid on your list. With the subscription to Little Passports, kids get a fun-filled package each month designed to inspire their curiosity in geography, world cultures, or science. For kids of all ages, order today for holiday delivery at littlepassports.com/reading, littlepassports.com/reading. Hey, we want to thank Katie Cruice Smith for being here today. We want to thank our fantastic sponsor, Little Passports. And, of course, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by choosing to read with your kids. I'll be looking for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.